So, greetings one and all. Let's see, what are we going to do today? All right, I will just give you the preamble, and then I'll see if I can come up with something slightly different. So, many of you have been meditating for quite some time, so you've got a fairly good feel for the practice. So maybe there's something I can focus on, especially on the experiential level. So naturally, many of you are aware that meditation is very much it's like a feely practice. In order to be quite successful, both on the side of, say, tranquilizing the mind and the development of insight, you really need to feel your way, because when you look at the underlying currents, the underlying energies in the mind, they're largely emotionally driven. If you didn't have your your emotional content behind your personality, you wouldn't have anything to really drive or motivate you to a great degree. Our feelings essentially is what actually colours our world. It moves our world, and especially it colours the thought processes that actually arise in consciousness. So we have to pay quite a bit of attention to this, because with our emotional mindset actually driving our thought processes, essentially the thinking process for most of it's essentially, especially for meditation practice, it's going to obstruct us to a small or large degree. The thinking process is completely, what's the right word? Like an opposite relation to the development of, say, very good quality states of samadhi. And many of us, we think excessively, about just so many things, far more than we really need to. And we want to sort of try to develop a kind of mindset where we can think when it's necessary, and then as soon as our duties, responsibilities are taken care of, that the mind will go to a state of rest. This kind of thing is much easier said than done, but it's a possibility for you, and that little method I've mentioned on quite a number of occasions. Doing a little meditation mantra just once every minute during the day is quite an easy way to get this kind of background samadhi. Background peacefulness that you can feel. It's tangible. It's essentially it can be there like all the time. So you've got this kind of minimal level of samadhi to increase your awareness of your personal experience. There's enough samadhi there to give you enough, say, tranquility for insight, for basic insight practice. And because all of us, we have only a limited amount of time on this planet, and some of us are going to be taken sooner than others. It could be me. I could be one of the first. So it's just a matter of using, without being too flippant, just using time wisely and skillfully. I mean, some of us could have like genuine disease processes, because I visit nursing homes and hospitals on a irregular basis, and working in the hospital system previously, I'm just well aware just how fragile this physical body is. And many of you may be quite committed meditators. You take this practice quite seriously, even though you're very busy. You may be working full time. You have partners and possibly children as well, and duties, responsibilities. So you may want to essentially apply as much energy as you can into the practice, but you have things, you have so like people, you have work, you have this and that, drawing on your time and energy. That's just it's just a very, very simple, easy way to actually maximize the strength of your practice. Because this kind of thing, you can just do it all day and half the night. You can work, you can function at work. Your memory won't be impaired, your peripheral awareness will not be impaired, but there's enough samadhi there for investigation, for developing awareness. And if I was a lay practitioner, that's what I would do. You can function and move in the world, but you've just got this constant state of meditation operating in the background. And you do this kind of practice like over 12 months. It could be worth like at least several years of just a standard approach, maybe just a standard sit each day, which some people only have time even for that. They may only have time for like possibly even 5-10 minutes. It's just an easy way to accelerate your personal results. So yeah, this feely perspective, and naturally with the wisdom faculty as well, that in order to understand oneself and to understand other human beings, and even say one's pets, one's little kittens and puppies and budgerigars, that these little creatures as well, they're motivated. They could be largely motivated by instinctual behaviours, but they have their own little emotional world. May not be as vast as ours, maybe maybe not as full as ours, but they have their own little perspective on life. Okay, so what we'll do we'll just try something slightly different, because I've actually heard people mention in the past, even monks say in the past, that when they, especially on the emotional level, people who get very strong feelings of anger, and even say like irritation, or even say attraction, that and especially meditators, long-term I've heard monks say this, that they tend to feel their emotional world, say like in the belly section, when you're talking about like raw emotion, especially anger seems to be quite a common one when say like very, very strong irritation or anger arises. People feel it at the belly section. This is kind of practice I haven't done a lot of, but funny enough, I had to move away. I used to focus around the mouth section, but for some reason I just get too much tension in the face, even though it's below. It's a little bit further down. It's still a little bit. For some people, they can still get a bit too much tension in the face. So, but by dropping one's awareness to the belly section, right away from the cerebral activity, away from the head section, drop it fairly low in the body, and one can still get a fairly good focus even at that point. And when one's attention is very sharp, you can focus even on the belly button, or the chi point, just below, 1 inch below the belly button. So let's see now. We'll use the belly meditation with some kind of positive mantra. Just see how it feels. Many of you are familiar with the loving kindness, compassion, but I want you to just choose a positive mantra like life is wonderful, or it could be something like my children are beautiful, or my partner is beautiful, or it could be like the Dhamma is incredible. So you can just think of some positive formulation, but try not to make it sort of ego-based, where it stimulates excessive, it strengthens the personality. Try not to use words like, say like the word I, like I am happy or I am blissful. I've done that one before, and it seems to, funny enough, it increases the strength of the ego, and that can actually be an obstruction. So try to use any kind of positive formulation without the the word I in the formulation. Just a nice, simple, positive mantra. And just break it up into, say, 2 or 3 syllables, divisions. And so follow, just drop your attention, maybe we'll just for 5 minutes, right? We'll just focus on the sensation of the tummy. And as you breathe in and out, just very gently just watch the rise and fall of the abdomen, the actual expansion and contraction of the abdomen and the muscles at that point. So just with the preliminary instruction, just get yourself in a nice, comfortable posture with the back straight and the head upright but comfortable, nothing tight around the waist, around the throat or the wrists. Make sure you can breathe like fully into the chest. And just as we breathe into the belly, just do so in a very relaxed way. Don't try to control the belly at all. Just be a passive observer, watching the rise and the fall of the abdomen for the next 5 minutes. So we'll just bring in a positive mantra of your choice. So like the Dhamma is wonderful, or life is positive, or my children are beautiful. It's just whatever's important to you, whatever gives you like an emotional tone. The words giving you an emotional tone. So just split the words up into syllables, and as you breathe in and out at the abdomen, just say your positive mantra just in a very, very relaxed way as we go through the session. As you breathe into the abdomen, just try to relax and soften the belly as much as possible. Just see if your positive mantra actually induces some peacefulness, some tranquility in the mind. anyone feels a bit sleepy or dozy, just try to take full breaths, just very relaxed full breaths into the belly section. So if you find the abdominal breathing a little bit hard to follow, just try to focus on the feeling. If it's not clear, just drop the mantra and just focus on the feeling of the abdomen as it rises and falls. So if you find that you're not settling down very quickly, just go straight over to the investigation, the wisdom practice, and just stop and see what you're actually thinking of, what those thoughts and feelings are connected with. Try to understand the totality of that mind state. Just explore it quite gently, because the more you understand these mind states, the easier they are to let go of. So we're coming towards the end of the meditation, so just reflect back and see what works for you, what induces the tranquility and insight. I'll ring the gong 3 times so you can open your eyes when you're ready. Has anybody got any questions on the meditation at all? No? Yes? Christine? Thank you. Halfway through, I felt I was dreaming about a few incidents or something. I don't know how to explain. I feel I am on sleep sometimes. How to overcome this problem? This is the reason I always recommend the mantra formulation with the belly breathing, because even as I don't do this practice very often, but I actually felt a similar thing. I felt like I was sort of becoming like over-tranquilized and there wasn't a lot of energy there, but it was definitely sharp enough. But it's like, I think maybe because people, once you drop your attention, well below the head level, below the cerebral level, and down into the lower body, dropping the consciousness down, it seems to, some people may find that it actually induces maybe a degree of maybe sleep, sort of like a mild sleep state, or maybe a drop in awareness. So what I would do is, I would always do, say, like a mantra recitation, any kind of positive mantra, even words, simple mantra formulations, just to keep stimulating the mind, because when you just use these simple mantras, you're not only generating positive feeling, but you're actually stimulating mental activity within a small range. And if you've got the mantra going, as soon as your attention slips, or as soon as you start to essentially to doze off, you notice it straight away. Your attention just falls away, and you're able to correct yourself. Sometimes people can do like a really long form mantra, like the Om Mani Padme Hum or the Namo Tassa Bhagavato, or anything along that line, and they can still do it continuously. For anyone who really suffers from sleepiness, do a very relaxed long form mantra and do it continuously with no spaces between the words. So you've got applied and sustained thought there constantly, and your mind is, your attention has only got to slip, not even half a second, and you see it straight away. And you can focus on any part of the body. If some people find that focusing on the belly just makes them sleepy almost every time, they might want to go possibly even to the middle of the chest, or even at the level of the throat or the full face. Might increase your awareness. Some people, they don't necessarily find it easy to focus on the nose. Maybe I found focusing around the mouth section quite good, but for some reason I still kept getting too much tension in the face. So I know one abbot, he never goes, he tends to focus around the throat. So that's just another option. You choose the location which is suitable for you, and then some kind of, maybe even a positive mantra formulation to help raise positive energy to a small degree. and make sure you breathe. You know, as you're getting more tranquil, don't forget to keep breathing fully. You don't have to hyperventilate. Just slow, deep breaths into the full chest, into the full belly section. And if you still feel dozy, I mean, just open your eyes. You know, it's not a major problem. You know, people can still get good states of tranquility even with their eyes open. You know, on every time they sit. It's just a skill. You know, you develop, and each person tends to find what works for them over time. So question 1, Nelu from Romania. What type of meditation is most suitable, is skillful in times of despair, depression, when everything seems hopeless? What I would recommend is if a person was in a really bad state, they were really down, really maybe emotionally troubled, or they've got very, very heavy stuff they have to deal with, or they might even be suicidal, I would always go to the metta and the compassion meditation as a first choice, because essentially you want to correct, to balance that negative state. You want to maximize positive feeling in the mind. So you can do like a composite where whatever positive emotions are actually important to you, you radiate that towards yourself. You know, may I be happy, joyful, may I be peaceful and positive. That's the loving kindness, positive self-affirmation. And the compassion meditation is, may I be free from affliction, may I be free from depression, negativity, free from sorrow and despair. That's compassion. So you can do the two components together. May I be happy, peaceful and free from say depression and despair. So you can do the two together, and then do them continuously. I did that in the beginning because you want to increase the strength of the mental state, make it very, very firm, maximize the energy. People tend to get more tranquility. Say, for example, with metta and compassion, when you do it continuously, just very gently with applied sustained attention, no spaces between the words, it maximizes the tranquility effect. Because you're using a bit more force, you're increasing the energy, the positivity. If it makes you uncomfortable, you can use big spaces between the words. I don't think most people would mind, because if they're really, really down and they're really in a really bad state, they'd be more than happy. Even if they feel really incredibly soft, just to be free from negativity would be enough to make them happy. And so you can do the word formulations. You can do them 1,000 different ways. You just depending whatever mood you are in on a certain day or a certain hour, you just choose the words which are suitable to bring that state, the afflictive state, the difficult state into balance. And the words should generate the feeling to correct maybe possibly the negative feelings, or the views, the ideas that we have. I mean, naturally, it's not just. It may not just be emotion. It could even be chemical. It could be like even brain chemical. It could be drug induced. There could be all sorts of underlying factors. But it's just it's a tool that people can use. Those two meditations are very fast, especially metta compassion. You tend to see results much more quickly than any other practice in the short term.
What happens if the depression is caused from disgust? In other words, I really just want to feel better.
You really, okay.
And I feel down and I feel like killing myself or something like that, and I just want to feel better. I just want to get away from this, And then you say, well, I send my love to myself and be kind to myself and all this stuff. And I'm really up for that. Yep, I want to be in the positive space. I want to get as far away from the negative as possible. Sometimes you can actually get a splitting that occurs where you just want to get up as far, and some of the words that you say to yourself are be positive, be positive, be positive, or send love and kindness to myself. And part of me wants to really believe all that and go to that place. But then there's like this ball and chain that's you carry around with you, which is this disgust that you can't do it. You can't do it, and then you feel despising of yourself and turning on yourself when you do that. So, I mean, I think that, you know, your advice there is good in some ways, but you know, the other thing that Ajahn Brahm talks about is the door of my heart is open to every part of me. Like
Sorry, the what?
The door of my heart is open to every part of me. It's embracing the negative. Yeah, and you know, so often we meditate to get away from the bad stuff in life. We learn, we practice the Dharma to get away from the bad stuff and keep it as far away from us as we possibly can, which is not, I think, the real teachings of the Buddha, but it's way where oftentimes it's misunderstood or superficially understood as let's stay in the good zone and keep as far away from the bad zone as possible. Could you say something about that level when a person's plunged into depression from disgust and, you know, they're really struggling to make friends with the painful part of themselves?
Yeah, I wouldn't use words like to get away from, maybe say like a painful, afflictive state, because if I was looking at myself and I had that kind of mindset, then I'm trying to push it away, but it's the sense of self again. It's my sense of self trying to push away a painful sense of self. And it's a bit contradictory in a way. It's like negative feelings, trying to push away negative feelings. So I tend to, the kind of idea I would have is just to slowly to balance and to let that particular state go, because as soon as I start to use any kind of, I have the view that I have to push this thing away, I have to destroy it, I have to get rid of it, then I'm essentially just coming from aversion. And that could be just create another hindrance in itself. So I tend to, like people who do a lot of meditation, hours every day, and maybe on intensive retreat might just get overwhelmed by those kind of really tricky, difficult states. And no matter what they do, they might get it on a regular basis. But if that was happening to me, I'd go straight to the feeling. I will try to correct the feeling, correct and balance the feeling. Because especially the underlying defilements in the mind, it's incredibly tricky. They can essentially get you from every possible perspective. And when you're working with your mind and these karmic energies, these underlying feelings, very, very tricky emotions and feelings, that the person concerned, I lost my train of thought. The person concerned, that business where the mind in itself on a deeper level, it tries to oppose you, it tries to block you. It's like those difficult emotions, they're still part of yourself which want to survive. You hear this thing with some of the senior forest teachers about, you've got to, the defilements essentially are what is holding you in samsara, within the process of karma and rebirth. And they have a very high survival perspective. You can get particular moods or feelings or a mind state, and it's quite difficult to work with, and it could take you for some people it could take them a full 12 months to get a handle on it, because it could be say for example a person is just say for example they're suicidal, but the parents, they've had a good childhood, the parents are good, they've got all the opportunities in the world, but this person, they don't want to live. They want to take their life, and the psychologist, or the person who's consulting with them, the person's got everything going for them, but they want to kill themselves, and so you see that underlying mind state, those underlying energies, even though the external environment is very conducive, it's like part of the person wants to destroy them. Part of their personality wants to destroy them. So I never ever underestimate what the format that it can take. So, but I don't get overly complicated on the, especially with psychology and stuff like that. I go straight to the feeling, go right to the core, the heart of the matter, and then work on it at that point, because thinking and proliferation is endless. Go straight to the feeling and just try to balance, correct the feeling and relax it, soften it. Whatever you feel on the personal level is actually effective for you. There could be half a dozen different methods just to approach this particular state and essentially to sort of slowly wear it down over time. Eddie?
Sorry, just sharing, from my opinion, okay, yeah. You see, this depression, it's prolonged mind over matter, mind over thinking, affecting our feeling, okay. Normally, it's associated with a phenomena, it's something not right. I would watch the mind, knowing things are impermanent. Watch them. First, you have to calm yourself, then watch your thinking, and bringing all these Buddhist teachings, like impermanence, you understand? And try to change your thinking, It's hard though for a newcomer, but for a person who's after a while who has practiced this, then it's easy.
Some people find one thing I see myself, which works fairly quickly, is when you identify the afflictive emotion, just very gently, just go right into it, explore it completely, because what happened with many people, if you don't, this is when I mentioned that bit, the business about if the mind doesn't settle down, you need to look at this state. You need to investigate it just very gently, and then just it's like a ball of wool. It's like a tangled ball of wool. You need to examine it. You need to slowly untie the knots and the tight spots. And so, because the thing is, with mind states, if you don't address them, if you don't understand what they're made of, they can just keep coming back every day for like 5-10 years,
Actually, this is a very important topic, to discuss. I believe that different people have different ways of doing it. If you can all share, and learn from each other, it's mainly mind over matter. It's a prolonged process, prolonged negative thought, negative feeling, then all this comes.
It can help, but essentially you've got to seek the answers within yourself. You can get useful bits and pieces of advice from other people, but when it comes to actually working with your own stuff, you will know yourself better than anyone else.
Yes.
It's like when I sit up here, when I'm sitting here and helping people with their practice, I'm drawing on experience largely, but I'm giving. I don't say things like you should do this or you should do that. I just make suggestions. I approaches to dealing with different feelings, thoughts, ideas, dealing with meditation practice. So I'm just giving people like tools to work with, but each individual will see what works for them.
Yep. And there's some people you can't even tell them.
Sorry.
There are people who can't even help them,
Well, you can usually help them.
You try to tell them, they won't listen. Well, they have a different thinking, maybe,
I think you can. You may, if they're willing to put in the effort, you can maybe able to help people to a small degree, quite a large number of people. But if somebody's incredibly delusional, if they're if they've got say very very pronounced schizophrenia, it might be very very difficult. But still, people can still. I've had people with schizophrenia tell me previously that they actually found the meditation quite useful, but some psychiatrists won't recommend this for their clients, because one of their concerns, if something goes wrong, if their behaviour goes off, or they do something, or they take their life, then that person that they're consulting is medically liable if there's some kind of major tragedy or something goes wrong, they they just go completely off. The meditation's just completely unsuitable. Something goes wrong and they could be sued and this kind of thing, taken to court. This can happen. So I think we're all done. Okay, we'll finish up.